Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started today. I'm having difficulty with getting my laptop logged in. Hopefully I'll get it on so I can see participants. If not, we have a tech guy in here that will let me know if someone's raising their hand or needing to speak. With that, Adam, I hope you're online. Oh, I can see you on the screen. Adam, could we we'll open the hearing on 2167. Sounds like a bill we've heard before, but could you give us a briefing on this?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. House Bill 2167 would permit concrete mixer trucks to display a license plate on the front of the vehicle and also would require dump trucks to display license plates on the front of the vehicle. Under the bill, section 1, subsection B4 deals with concrete mixer trucks. It would give them the option to attach either to the front or the rear of the vehicle the license plate. New subsection B5 would require a dump truck with a gross weight of 26,000 pounds or more to attach a license plate to the front of the vehicle. Additionally, new subsection Sorry.
Adam, the lights just came back on our audio system. They were off for a little bit when you started, so I think we're probably going to have to start over. Oh, now it looks normal up here. Sorry about that.
No problem. Are you able to hear me okay now?
Oh, much better now.
Okay. I'll just start over if that's all right. I'll go quickly. House Bill 2167 would permit concrete mixer trucks to attach either to the front or to the rear of the vehicle a license plate. This would be under new subsection B4 of the bill under section 1. Subsection B5 would require a dump truck with an excess gross weight of 26,000 pounds or more. It would require these vehicles to attach the license plate to the front of the vehicle. Additionally, new subsection E of the bill would require law enforcement officers to issue a warning citation to anybody found violating subsection B5, the dump truck provision. However, this warning citation would only be required through January 1 of 2022. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
And was this similar to the bill we had last year?
Mr. Chairman, it is. Quite honestly, I didn't get a chance to look back at it. The concrete mixer trucks is the dump truck provision. I don't really recall that being in there. Someone may have to remind me on that one. And I believe the citation portion is also new.
I believe the dump truck portion was there. I think I may have carried that amendment. I was just wondering if there was an exemption for agriculture trucks, the grain trucks.
Currently, that's not in this bill.
Okay, well, we'll check with the proponents when we get the hearing. I was just trying to recall from last year. We'll go ahead. Anybody have any other questions for Adam? I can't see you online, so if you do, you may have to nobody's raising their hand or speaking up, so we'll open the hearing and move forward. Gotta love technology. Hey, it's working now. Okay, first up, we have our first proponent, Tom Whitaker. Welcome back to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom Whitaker, Kansas Motor Carriers Association. We're kind of hitchhikers on this bill. We hitchhiked on the Ready Mix Association's bill dealing with the ready mix trucks. But you're right, Mr. Chairman, you did amend the bill on the floor of the Senate to include dump trucks. It was in our testimony that we requested that. The amendment passed. There was some question about whether it included farm trucks. And if you want to put a little sentence in there that basically says this subsection shall not apply to a vehicle registered as a farm truck, you've taken care of those because some of their beds do dump and would be considered. But we are contractors for the state of Kansas to do licensing for commercial vehicles and vehicles that operate in interstate commerce. And we see regularly motor carriers coming in to get replacement plates. And I'll probably bet 9 out of 10 of those replacement plates are for dump trucks. Straight trucks are required to have their license tag on the back of the vehicle. Tractor trailers on the front of the vehicle. But dump trucks are their own problem because they're always dumping loads out of the back of the trucks. So you destroy the license plates. And this would allow them to put the plate on the front or require them. It provides a provision to issue warning tickets until January 1 of 22 to give people time to understand the change. But there is a little bonus to putting the tag on the front for a dump truck. Under federal motor carrier safety regulations, for the license plate bracket on the back of the truck, you're required to have a light on that. And keeping that light there all the time is very difficult on a dump truck. This will exempt them from that light requirement, and they will put it on the front. And we support the bill and would ask the committee act favorably on the bill. And I'll be happy to respond to questions.
Committee, any questions for Tom? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, Jerry Younger, Ready Mix Association. Welcome back to the committee again. I hope we have good pictures.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Yes, I am Jerry Younger, Managing Director of the Kansas Aggregate Producers Association and Kansas Ready Mix Concrete Association. You have my testimony. I'll just hit some highlights. Obviously, we're in support of House Bill 2167 this year, and the background was pretty good on this bill being the repeat of last year for the most part. Kansas Ready Mix Concrete Association represents 40 Kansas Ready Mix companies here in Kansas, and you've all seen their trucks out on the road delivering concrete, and it's, you kind of look at the operation on a ready mix truck, you know that there's a whole lot of activity on the back end of a ready mix truck. And you can just imagine a license plate in that same area and that license plate trying to survive all that various activity that's going on in the back. And really that's the crux for us anyway, of trying to be allowed to have the license plate displayed on the front of a ready mix concrete truck. With the chairman's permission, we originally were going to have one of my members also testify remotely, Justin Crane from American Concrete in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Unfortunately, Justin's busy with work today, although he carries the president and CEO of American Concrete. He's still the dispatcher and the batch man for their family-owned company, so he's busy making and delivering concrete today. So you also have his testimony, and his testimony provides a pretty good anecdotal and real life of what a ready mix concrete company goes through, and kind of the negative side of having to replace a license plate and the time and effort and expense that goes along with that. When really, if that license plate were located somewhere else, he probably wouldn't have to go through that. And Justin's testimonial on what he has to deal with or has had to deal with is similar to what I hear from my other members too. Justin's testimony also includes some pictures of their trucks, but those trucks are pretty similar to all ready mix trucks that have rear discharges. And you can see there's, like I said, a whole lot of activity on the back end, a whole lot of things happening on the back end of a ready mix concrete truck. And keeping a license plate affixed and displayed and not damaged becomes a monumental task at times. Since we've been through this a couple of years now, we've had the luxury of some questions that have come up. One of the questions and this was by the law enforcement groups, were concerned about for ready-mix concrete trucks allowing both, or either, I should say, front or rear display. And perhaps we should just stipulate that it has to be front display of the license plate instead of allowing both. If you look at my testimony, the picture on the back there, you can see that there are some trucks that are front discharge. This happens to be one of our members down in the Wichita area, MDL Ready Mix. So there are some trucks, again, that are front discharge, and you can imagine the same activity that's on a rear discharge being on the front and trying to keep a license plate affixed and not damaged. You run into the same problems. As noted in my testimony, estimate there's probably about 500 concrete mixers trucks in the state of Kansas that this would apply to. So with that, between my testimony and Justin's testimony, hopefully that provides a bit of background and the reason for support from our end. And with that, I'll stand for any questions at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Oh, some of our members have dropped offline. We may have an addition. Yes, Aaron, I checked my microphone. Thank you. Sorry about that. We had no other neutrals, no other opponents. So we're going to close the hearing on 2167, turn our attention to the hearing on House Bill 278. Adam, can you give us a briefing?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 278 would require an organization that receives payment from the issuance or renewal of a distinctive license plate. It would require the organization to submit a report by May 1st of each year to the House of Representatives Committee on Transportation, the Senate Committee on Transportation, the Legislative Research Department, and the State Treasurer. And the report would detail the amount of money received from the plate, and then the list of expenditures that the money was spent on for the prior year. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Any questions for Adam? Senator Pittman.
Adam, just, do you know, has anybody looked into whether this is already being done inside of the reporting that they might have to do for being a nonprofit by chance? Do you have any idea around that?
I don't, you know, besides like the tax reporting, I don't have any additional reporting.
Thanks.
Further questions, committee? Senator Dietrich.
This just sounds familiar. Has this been introduced before? Did we just talk about it in this committee?
There was discussion on this quite a bit last year. I know on some of the license plates, they were concerned about where the money was going, and there was talk about, you know, where they were going to advocate for people in elections and things like that. And there was discussion for this. I don't even remember who introduced this. Senator Hawk might recall. Just don't know.
I think it's good information to have.
I think it's good information to have. We've had this discussion. It's kind of went on for the last 3 years in this committee, just as discussions, and someone finally got a bill up, and I was late getting it to the committee. Further questions? Any questions from online there? Seeing none.
question, Mr. Chairman. When appropriate, I might make a comment, but I'll wait.
It's appropriate, Senator Hawk.
Thank you. No, I asked to have the bill written, and I appreciate Adam getting that done. And it was just on the basis of getting the conversation started. And I thought if there was any particular problem, I think Senator Pittman raised a question: do they already do that reporting? And I don't think we really know relative to what that organization is. I don't think there's any requirement that they be organized, particularly as a business. I would assume that they are, but I think that's making a lot of assumptions. And if they do have to file reports, my guess is that would just be to the IRS or relative to their taxes, not necessarily where we could get the information. So it would seem that this is a good bill to start. I would hope if there's a problem with it, some of the organizations that have requested distinctive license plates would let us know if there's any particular hardship that we haven't thought of, or some other area to report to. But it seemed like Adam picked the logical places to have that reporting go, along with research. So I don't have a lot of information about it, other than I just think it's a good idea for us to have that information. If we're going to, in essence, appear to endorse a charitable cause that wants to raise funds with a distinctive license plate, I think we ought to at least provide some degree of accountability for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You know, last year we had discussion with yourself, Senator Braun, and another senator, I can't remember which one, on possibly doing something like this. Appreciate it being brought forth. Committee, are there any further proponents? Any neutrals? Any opponents? We'll close the hearing on 278. Turn our attention to the hearing on 2166. I believe this is our the omnibus license plate bill. Adam, can you give us a briefing on that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2166 provides for new distinctive license plate and also plates, and it also provides for changes to the requirements for the production of distinctive license plates. In the bill, the following new distinctive license plates would be created, and these ones are kind of the usual ones everyone's aware of for the requirements wise with the sponsoring organization. It would be the Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer, the Proud Educator, and the Alpha Kappa Alpha license plates. Additionally, the following military plates would be created for current members of the branches or individuals who have been honorably discharged. These would be the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the U.S. Space Force. Retired members of these branches could request the Director of Vehicles to print on their plate that the individual is a retired member. Also, the military plates would not be subject to the plate commitment or cost requirements to begin plate production. Section 10 of the bill would change the requirements for distinctive license plate production. Currently, it would lower the initial guarantee of issuance of plates down to 250 plates. This current requirement is 500. It would also lower the upfront cost to $5,000. This would be a decrease from the current $20,000. The bill would also change the discontinuance requirements from, which is currently a 250 license plate renewal requirement, that would be halved to 125. So there has to be every 2 years, 125 would be 125 now renewal for the plate to be continued to be produced. Additionally, the bill would amend the requirements for the educational institution distinctive license plates and there's kind of two plates, the In God We Trust and the Choose Life license plates. These would require an initial issuance of 100 license plates to be produced. Lastly, the educational plates would be discontinued if there are less than 100 license plates sold in the first 2 years of sales or 50 license plates for any subsequent 2-year period. Currently, educational plates have the requirement of a 500 plate initial commitment and a 250 2-year rolling renewal requirement. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Adam, the way I'm understanding this, it makes all the license plates equal, the In God We Trust, and all the non-royalty plates are the same?
That is essentially correct. The education ones have a little bit lower of a commitment, but the other ones would all be the same.
Okay, thank you. Committee questions for Adam? Turn our attention to the proponents. First proponent, Representative Gail Finney, District 84. Welcome to the Transportation Committee.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today. I'm here, I stand in support of Senate Substitute Bill, House Bill 2166. I definitely like the Braden's Hope for Cancer. I mean, that's just a heartbreaking bill that I'm very supportive of, and of course, the Proud Educator. But I'm here today specifically for the Alpha Kappa Sorority Distinctive License Plate. I think this is like the second time we've done that, and last time I got caught up in COVID. But the Kappa Alpha Sorority, which is, we call it the AKA, it's an African-American sorority that was established in 1908 as the first African-American sorority, and it was established on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. To date, there's over 300,000 members, and we have over 1,000 chapters. In Kansas, we have 9 chapters. 5 of them are alumni, and 4 are undergrads. And there's also 27 of those license plates across the United States right now. And one of the things that we thought would be really great for our organization is to be able to have these distinctive license plates as a promotion for our organization. And we believe that we would have no problem being able to sell the maximum quantity of it because we're all excited about it. In addition, we thought that this would be an opportunity to be a fundraiser for some of our events that we have. Like we do a big event called Fashionetta, which is kind of similar to a debutante every year for African-American young ladies. And that has been really successful over the years. In addition to that, I'd like to add the changes that they've made to this bill. I really think that's going to be beneficial for a lot of nonprofit organizations. Well, I'm distinctly talking about lowering that rate from 500 to 250, because I see a lot of those, some of these license plates there, it's very difficult to make that 500 maximum. I mean, yeah, that's the minimum, actually, minimal license plates that need to be purchased. So I'm really glad that that change came about. In addition to that $20,000, because I've seen some organizations get into these license plates and then they can't make the 500 minimal, let alone the $20,000. But I do think the adjustments to this bill, I think that's going to be beneficial for a lot of organizations. And I'm proud to have this bill associated with that military bill for the license plates for the retired military veterans. I just think that's just fantastic that we could pass this bill. So that's it. Unless you have some questions for me, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for Gail? Representative Finney, sorry.
Gail is cool.
Seeing none, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Now turn our attention to Matt Lindsay. Matt, are you online? We will accept his testimony as written. He may be in another committee testifying right now today. By WebEx, Delise Hofen. No, we're not here. Well, we'll accept that as written. I know there's been some people, even members, that are having difficulty getting in and holding on today, but we'll accept her testimony as written. Are there any opponents to this? Any neutrals? Close the hearing on House Bill 2166. Committee, I do intend to work some of these bills on Tuesday. We do have a license plate here, and we have the bill that Senator Hawk had brought, even though we didn't have proponents. I think that reporting requirement might fit into that House bill since it is kind of late in the session, so they may look at working those two together. Is there any further business to come before the committee? Reminder, we do have a presentation from the Kansas Turnpike Authority on Monday. We will not be working bills on Monday. With that, we are adjourned.